That's why Jesus was not lying later on when he said, before Abraham was, Yahweh, I am. That's why they picked up stones. They knew exactly what Jesus was claiming. He was claiming to be Yahweh. But they read a little closer, they would have seen what Jesus was saying. He's not saying he's a father. He's saying, I'm the messenger of Yahweh. Now, let me be clear. When we see the word angel in the Bible or outside the Bible, the word angel is actually not a religious term. It just means, in the original language, messenger. So this word was used of humans who are messenger. So it doesn't refer to a certain type of person or type of being. Angel is actually a title of a function, like a postman. A postman is an angel. They bring a message. That's all it is. So when we read the angel of the Lord, you don't assume that this is a same angel as all the other angels you see in the Bible. When we see the angel of the Lord, it's just identifying this person is a messenger, the messenger of the Lord. Because I think this helps a lot of confusion, because I think for people, especially, like some Jewish writings and unbelievers are like, how can you claim Jesus? We're going to see Jesus is the angel of the Lord. But they see, Jehovah's Witnesses see Jesus is one of the angels. And they assume by the word angel, it means that Jesus was created like the angels. But again, the word angel is not referring to that class of beings. It's just referring to a function. God can be, one of the persons of the Trinity can be a messenger of the Father. In that sense, they're the angel of the Lord. So let's look at the angel of the Lord. Now, how do I know that the angel of the Lord is not the same as the other angels in the Bible, or, the people, all the angels that are created that, didn't go with Lucifer? How do we know that? Well, look at how he talks. Genesis 16. This is when Sarah drove Hagar out because she was jealous that Hagar was able to give a son. This is when she was still barren, couldn't give a son. She got jealous. She kicked out Hagar and Ishmael, or like she treated them so poorly they kind of left. But the angel of the Lord comes up to Hagar, and in verse 10 in chapter 16 says this. The angel of the Lord also said to her, notice the pronouns, I will surely multiply your offspring so that they cannot be numbered for multitude. What is she quoting there, by the way? Multiply offsprings, they cannot be counted. What does that sound like? The Abrahamic covenant. Who gave the covenant to Abraham? Was it an angel? No. Read Genesis. It was God who made a covenant to Abraham. Who's the one in Genesis 15 that told Abraham to look up at the stars to see if you can number, that will be your offspring? God. And who now, this angel of the Lord is not saying God will multiply it. He won't. He said, I will multiply it. That should put some red lights. Wait a minute. This is an angel. He's speaking as God the Father here, right? He's speaking as if he's part of this covenant process. You see, the angels didn't make a covenant with Abraham. God made a covenant with Abraham. So how can this angel claim to be part of this covenant with Abraham, or with Abraham's, one of his concubines, if he's an angel? Well, we'll see even Hagar understands this. Do you notice Hagar doesn't believe this angel of the Lord is just an angel? Because look at how she talks back to the angel of the Lord in verse 13. After this angel of the Lord repeats God's covenant to Abraham, and to assure her, essentially to say, you're part of the Abrahamic covenant still. Just like I promised Abraham, you're part of the Abrahamic covenant, you'll have a multitude of offspring. Although the promise follows not Ishmael, follows Isaac. However, she's still part of the general blessings of the Abrahamic covenant. So this is what she says in verse 13. So she called the name of the Lord, capital L-O-R-D, Yahweh. That's when you see capital. Yahweh who what? Spoke to her. Yahweh wasn't speaking to her though. Who was speaking to her? The angel of the Lord. Transitive property now. Little math, everybody. So if angel of the Lord was the one speaking to Hagar, and the narrator later on, a few verses says it was Yahweh, or the Lord, who spoke to Hagar, what does that mean? The angel of the Lord is Yahweh. But is the angel of the Lord Yahweh as in he's God the Father? No, because he's a messenger of the Father. So you have to have another person besides God the Father, but he also shares in the same power and identity with the Father as Yahweh. So you start to see even Yahweh, yes, Yahweh is one, but this one God is comprised of two different people, at least at this point we know. And we know the third person because it says the Spirit of Yahweh who represents Yahweh. Again, look at verse 13. She called the name of the Lord who spoke to her, "You are a God of seeing. Truly here I have seen him who looks after me." Hagar has very good theology here. Trinitarian theology right here. He's a God who looks after me. I have seen him, Yahweh, even though the person that she was talking to was not the Father, but a messenger of the Father. But this messenger of the Father is also Yahweh. But you guys know this, the famous burning bush episode. Clearly, Yahweh is the one speaking here, right? Because even in the bush, this is where we even get the word Yahweh. The word Yahweh comes from Exodus chapter 3. Yahweh is the verb to be, right? And remember, what was God's name? I am who I am. In other words, saying I am always being. I am always existent. Present tense, right? That's Yahweh, to be. He's always being. He gives that name in Exodus chapter 3. But notice how the narrative starts. Exodus chapter 3, verse 2. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. He looked, and behold, the bush was burning, yet it was not consumed. Who is Yahweh? Not the Father. The messenger of the Father was the one speaking to Moses. That whole conversation Moses was having was with not the Father, but the messenger of the Father, who is also called Yahweh. Do you see that? That's why Jesus was not lying later on when he said, before Abraham was, Yahweh, I am. That's why they picked up stones. They knew exactly what Jesus was claiming. He was claiming to be Yahweh. But they read a little closer, they would have seen what Jesus was saying. He's not saying he's a father. He's saying, I'm the messenger of Yahweh. I am Yahweh, the messenger of the Father. I am the angel of the Lord. That's what Jesus was saying there to the Jewish leaders. But they also knew that he was, by being the messenger, the angel of the Lord, he was making himself equal to Yahweh. Remember, who was the one that killed 185,000 Assyrians in one night? It wasn't just an angel. Angel of the Lord. It was Jesus. By the way, when I say angel of the Lord, we know this is pre-incarnate Jesus, because Jesus identifies himself with these passages. That's why when Peter chopped off Malchus's ear, what did Jesus say there? Peter, if I wanted to, I can call the legions of angels and, I'm the angel of the Lord. If I can kill 185,000 people one night, you don't think I can handle a handful of Roman soldiers? Put your sword away. That's an Old Testament reference right there.